What's up, everybody? This is Rob Brandt.
And this is Rick Brandt, and we are the Brothers Brandt.
Welcome back to episode 159 of the Brothers Brandt podcast. Uh, Forgive me on this one, but the Cognizant Classic Preview, formerly the Honda Classic Preview. So,
Rob, it rolls right off the tongue. It's branding, it's a new name, a new look,
there's a
but it's the
G,
same great
there's a G and an
fun.
N, a G and an N, and a Z slapped into this title.
A heck of a sponsor. It's the Cognizant Classic Preview Show here on the Brothers Brandt podcast. We're going to be talking about South Florida's premier golf tournament on the PGA Tour schedule. The Florida Swing kicks off this week, Robbie boy, and that means that major season is right around the corner. But let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about this annual golf tournament that takes place at Palm Beach Gardens PGA National Resort and Spa. You know the place very intimately, correct?
I do not at all. I don't know why you would toss that up to me. I've never been there. I've never experienced it. I believe you're confusing myself with yourself. You've been there a million times. You worked there. You've played the course 6 times. You're very intimately involved in this course. So why don't you tell us, Rick?
I must have gotten my papers all mixed up there. I don't know what happened to me. I do have to apologize. We are familiar with the PGA National Resort and Spa. And you're right. I am former member there and having worked
Former
and,
member.
well, that's a loose term. I can assure you no
Rick,
dues paid.
Rick. So for those listeners out there, Rick started working for PGA
Mhm.
for a short time.
That's right.
Would have been longer, but COVID put an end to that.
Hmm.
But Rick was making tee times left and right,
Oh my
leveraging the
gosh.
PGA.
Rob, that place, the PGA National Resort and Spa, it's really a destination. They have 6 golf courses there. They've now put in a par 3 course. The resort itself has been completely renovated. My wife and I spent a little bit of time there about a year ago. It's really a place that if you're a golf enthusiast, even if you're not going for the Cognizant Classic, make your way over to Palm Beach Gardens, enjoy your stay. Plenty to do in that area. It's a beautiful spot, especially this time of year. So they have been, though, Rob, since 2007, hosting an annual PGA Tour event, as you mentioned, and we've talked about already, previously known as the Honda Classic. A new sponsor has come in. Rob, tell the individuals, because here is where the paperwork is correct. Tell the listeners about the Cognizant Company, which is headquartered in your former backyard. Talk to us about who these people are and what do they do?
Yeah, Rick. Sure. Cognizant is an American multinational information technology services and consulting company headquartered in Teaneck, New Jersey, founded in 1994, traded publicly with $19 billion in annual revenue. So
I
they got
think we should invest. I think now would be a good time to invest. Their stock is going to go through the roof this weekend in Palm Beach Gardens.
investors, possibly you. They got a couple of shekels to throw 19 billion in annual revenue. Yeah, they can throw some money at the former Honda Classic, get the name out there, get the branding. But Teaneck, New Jersey, um, special place in my heart. Spent a couple of years there at Fairleigh Dickinson University, which we will highlight FDU in our March Madness preview. But yeah, very familiar with Teaneck, River Road, Cedar Lane Diner, no longer there. Rest in peace, RIP. Minutes away from Manhattan.
Rob, it's kind of a coincidence how this episode is full circle with both of us having spent times in some locations that are important to this tournament now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well,
Now,
Rick, why don't you tell our listeners about some past champions and then defending champion that we have coming up this week?
it would be my honor to, Rob. This event kicked off back in 1972. And what's unique about this tournament is its inaugural purse. The total amount that was available for winnings that year in 1972 was $52,000, which currently doesn't sound like a PGA Tour purse, but you got to go back 50 years. And then one cool little neat thing here, Rob, is that the purse was actually more than twice the amount of what the Masters purse was that year. So when they decided they were going to start this tournament down in South Florida, the way that they
That's fascinating.
attracted the way that they attracted a really impressive field of players was by throwing a lot of money at them as a possible winning. And so they did that, and the tournament
That
basically
strategy, by the way, has not changed.
no,
Follow
it's
the money.
follow the money. So over the years, very notable golfers have played in this tournament, some of which, Jack Nicklaus has won this event twice.
Of course.
Johnny Miller has done so himself, both Hall of Fame golfers, friends of the pod, and some notables that are current golfers out there: Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas,
Also friends of the
Ricky
pod.
Fowler.
Also friends of the pod.
I actually
For
don't
brand
know. I
here.
don't I don't know if any of these that I'm mentioning right now are friends of the pod, but we'll get them on the pod.
I don't
They'll
even
be
know if
friends.
they know we exist. So
I'll tell you what, Adam Scott and Ernie Els probably do. Those are probably our best bets.
you think so?
Yeah, they're foreign, they're Australian, they've got the whole, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
we have a big following over there.
Okay.
So, as I'm saying this, it makes me think that this tournament is going to be a big time tournament this year. You get all these stars that have played it in the past, and then this year's field is loaded, locked and loaded. Matthew Fitzpatrick, major champion. Shane Lowry, major champion. Justin Rose, Olympic champion. Gary Woodland, major champion. Rory and Ricky. It's going to be a heck of a tournament this year, Rob. Things kick off on February 29th, and they play through March 3rd, and the tournament will be shown on the Golf Channel and NBC.
Yeah. And I think this the purse, did you mention that the purse is $9 million this year?
This year, it's up to $9 million, a little bit more than the 52,000 they started
Yeah.
off with years back.
Yeah. Just a couple. You carry the one and the zero, and yeah. So
Yeah, just do a little math there, and it's a
nice.
lot of money. It's a lot of money, and
Well, I think the reason why you're getting such a great field is because obviously without stating it, I just feel like Live is buying up everybody. And I think the PGA just really needs to get a better product out on the course consistently every week. So throw some more money at the purse, get the big guys out there. That's what we want to see. We want to see the heavy hitters coming in there, but we're not opposed to amateurs rising the ranks, shocking the nation, March Madness esque. And that's what happened last year, Rick. Walk us through what happened last year and the defending champion and the battle royale that ensued down in Palm Beach Gardens.
yeah, it was the grand finale to the Honda Classic, and it got fireworks, Rob. It got a playoff on the 18th hole. It was two individuals that have pretty impressive stories and obstacles and hurdles that they've overcome in the past. So our defending champion from last year, Chris Kirk, he and Eric Cole, who last year on the PGA Tour was named Rookie of the Year, who, by the way, is one of the oldest rookies of the year ever in the history of the PGA Tour
Yeah.
at the age of 34. So
Don't
these
give up on your dreams, kids.
exactly
We're
these
grown
gentlemen,
adults.
they duked it out. And Chris Kirk, he had won on the PGA Tour years ago, and then he kind of fell into a little bit of a off the field, off the course type problems and issues. He's had talked openly about some of his alcoholism, and he just hit really this rough patch, not just in his career but in his life. And he battled back, and I think it had been like 6 years since he had won prior, and that's a long span.
Yeah.
And so he fought back and he competed, and he ended up overcoming not just 4 rounds of golf, but a couple playoff holes against Eric Cole, who he has a unique story in of itself. His parents, both mother and father, athletes, professional golfers. I believe his mom was at one point named LPGA Player of the Year 20, 30 years ago. And so he's had this dream ever since he was a little kid of one day competing on the PGA Tour. And as you said, Rob, don't give up on your dreams and what you want to do. And So he lives down in the South Florida area, and he has for many years tried to qualify for PGA Tour events. And it's a rigorous process, actually. You've got to bring your A game for not just 1 day or 2 days, but for a whole series of basically a week and a half to qualify and change your career
Yeah.
trajectory. So Eric, this was now over a year ago. He had to pony up the 2, 3, 400 bucks it is to go play in a local qualifier. For those listeners out there on the Brothers Brant podcast who are not familiar with this process, but almost every tournament we watch on TV week in and week out, not the Masters, not the majors, but the majority of the PGA Tour events out there, you can qualify. You can qualify. Rob can qualify. I can qualify. Anybody can qualify to play in these events. But the process, the way it works, is about a week and a half, 2 weeks before the tournament starts. There are a series of local events just at like a local public and/or private golf course, where again, you pay a couple $100, you get entered into playing a round of golf that is monitored and supervised to make sure that the scoring is accurate. And there could be 20 people, there could be 200 people, there could be 1,000 people that decide to want to pre-qualify for a PGA Tour event. And they might have multiple locations. It might not just be at one or two. So down in South Florida, they have about 4 or 5 local courses where all these people that pony up the cash, that have this pipe dream, they go out and they tee it up for a day. And if they are top 5 on this Thursday or Friday event, they will advance to what is known as the Monday qualifier. So that's what more golf people are probably commonly known for, is this Monday qualifier. But how do you even get to the Monday qualifier? There's a pre-qualifier for that. So you show up on Monday, you were one of top 5 people at one of these local events the week prior. And then you got to show up one more time. And if you go top 4 in this Monday pre-qualifier, then you get entered into one of 4 spots that are allocated that given week on the PGA Tour event for a Monday qualifier. And that's typically where the story ends, is somebody pre-qualified and they're playing and they play Thursday and Friday. They shoot 80 back-to-back days and they head home. But not for Eric Cole and not for the final Honda Classic. Eric Cole balled out Thursday and Friday, not only making the cut, but leading the pack. This story was galvanizing the golfing world last year. And to think somebody, a Monday qualifier, could actually win a PGA Tour event. Well, Rob, it didn't happen, but he came as close as you possibly could, losing in playoff fashion to Chris Kirk. But it gave Eric Cole status on the PGA Tour. When you finish in the top 5 in a PGA Tour event, you're invited the following week and the following week. And so you're given some sponsors exemptions and ultimately given an opportunity to earn a lot of cash. And so that's what Eric Cole's been doing. He made the most of it. He became Rookie of the Year last year. And I know he's going to be coming out with a vengeance this year to try to win his home event.
Wow. That was inspirational. I didn't know a lot of that. So that's really cool. I think it was documented with Joel Damon last year with him in Brookline, Mass, or maybe 2 years ago when he had to qualify with the Netflix special. They showed that. So yeah, man, that is really cool stuff. And yeah, don't give up on your dreams. And now he's playing on the tour.
He is. And let's talk a little bit about this Cognizant Classic here. And I want to talk to the listeners, Rob, about the course itself.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned before that.
What did you shoot? You've played it 6 times. What have you shot on there?
Well, I got to tell you, Rob, this is a PGA Tour course. All right, this isn't your little muni down the street. You go out with your buddies on a Sunday. This is some big time golf here. And depending on what time of year you play the course, the rough could be higher, really challenging. The greens could be like putting
Sure.
on ice.
I get
And
it. It's hard. Stop skating the question. Just give me a number. It's not that hard. Just tell me the number and we'll move on to the course.
well, Rob, I want to give a number, but the
Give me a
way it's
number.
traditionally worked for me out there is um I almost always start off really well, and then eventually the wheels fall off, Rob. And so I've had some really great starts. I've birdied the first one, I've parred the second, I've birdied the third. I mean, I've gotten through the first front nine, in a reasonable, respectable score. But by the time I get to that bear trap, Rob, and that's what this course is known for, the bear trap, it is no holds bars. It is the teeth of the course show themselves, and nobody gets out of there alive, including yours truly. So, Rob, this course, I don't know if I've even broken 100. I always play from the tips. And so that's sometimes my own stubbornness getting the best of me. But I want to play it like a PGA Tour pro plays it.
Sure.
And so it does play for the pros as a par 70, and it gets really windy. The terrain down there, just in Florida, obviously there's no mountains, so
Yeah.
wind kicks up, storms blow through.
Yep.
But something about this champion course, and that's the name of the course.
Yeah.
It's one of 5 or 6
And
courses on property.
and the bear trap, let me just are you gonna explain it right now? You're gonna walk through each hole?
No, 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 go for it. Talk to the listeners about this bear trap here. It's pretty wild, and it kicks off with this truly like massive bear statue. They have this, like, you come up on the 15th hole and there's this bear that's like 10 feet tall. It's already daunting. It's already getting in playing head games with you.
Yep. So here's some interesting stats on the bear trap. It was named in honor of Jack Nicklaus. So it's the 15th, 16th, and 17th holes, very similar to Amen, similar, but back in Amen Corner for the Masters, Augusta National. On the 15th hole is a par three over water, 179 yards, very windy. The 16th hole is a par four, 434 yards. The water is all along the right side. So you got to hit this into the left fairway. So there's a fairway running up the left-hand side. You got to put it into the fairway. And then your second shot is going to have to be over water onto the green. So water involved in both those holes. And then the 17th hole is the par three, 190 yards. And that is directly over the water. Kind of similar to the Players Championship on hole number 17, but without the allure of the Players Championship. So not so much an island, but it's pretty daunting. Some stats on the Honda Classic since 2007. Over par scores 2,571 on the bear trap, 3,535 on the other 15 holes. Water wars, as they call it. 76% of players who have hit at least one ball in the water on the bear trap.
Yeah, it's no joke. There's a lot of water on each of those holes. I can confirm that my ball has found the water on all 3 of the holes at some point during the course of my career there. It's a challenge, Rob. It's a challenge. It's a bear. It's a brute. It's not where you want to be.
Why they call it the bear trap.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's why on Saturday, Sunday, come the weekend, it'll be nice to be sitting on the couch watching from home, watching the players go wild, the fans enjoying it. And Sunday, Rob, in particular, is really the special day for this tournament. Not only does it conclude the event and we have a champion, but it's Play Yellow Sunday. And this tournament is all about the children's hospitals of South Florida. The Nicholas Children's Healthcare Foundation, which was started by Jack and his wife, Barbara Nichols, they just adamantly are passionate about the children down there and making sure that they have the health systems that are needed when unfortunate situations arise. And so that's been their life's work. And that's what this tournament supports. And I think that's why the PGA Tour really worked so hard to find a new sponsor and to keep this going, because the beneficiary of the event really impacts the community there. All these events do, but this one really hits home with the kids down there in South Florida. And so yellow is for children's cancer and other types of issues. And so come Sunday, you'll see a lot of the players wearing yellow. They'll have the yellow ribbons on their hats. And it's really special. It's really nice. And Rob, this tournament has already caught a lot of headway and a lot of headlines, more so than previous years. Not only does it get a new sponsor name, not only is the field stacked, but a Sir Mr. Woods has been in the headlines coming up to this year's event, but not Tiger Woods. His son, Charlie Woods, 14-year-old freshman in high school, Charlie Woods, had
Wild.
attempted to compete in one of those pre-qualifier events that we talked about earlier on the episode that Eric Cole navigated so well last year and found himself into the actual tournament. Charlie Woods attempted to participate in one of those, unfortunately carding an 86, which frankly probably would have been a lot better than what you or I would have done. But he played in Hope Sound, a course called Lost Lake Golf Club. And as we mentioned before, if you're not in the top 4 or 5 in those events, you don't move on. So Charlie, this was not his PGA Tour debut. Maybe someday he will make his debut at the Cognizant Classic, but it's not this year, Rob. With a stacked field, and as we wind down this episode of the Brothers Brandt podcast, I have to ask you, Rob, I need your pick. I need to get to my bookie. I need to put some shekels down, as you like to say. Who should the listeners bet on?
Let's see. Field out there. I am going to go. Now I just need confirmation. Is Hideki Matsuyama going to be in it?
Rob, I did not see his name listed on the field.
That's what I thought.
He's
Yeah.
not listed.
I mean, that win
He
at
just had
Riv was amazing.
exact a couple weeks back, had a really big win out there in Los Angeles. The tour then went down to Mexico for the Mexico Open, and now they're getting ready for the Florida Swing before we get into the Players Championship and all of the fun things that come with the spring.
Give me Victor Hovland.
Victor Hovland. Okay. All right. Rob is going to go with Victor Hovland. We are huge fans of Victor Hovland here on the podcast. So that for us and the PGA Tour would be a great champion of the inaugural Cognizant Classic. Rob, I'm going to go with a good friend of ours. He was on the podcast not too long ago. He's PGA Tour putting coach extraordinaire, Mr. Stephen Sweeney. He's got a decorated roster. His backyard is Palm Beach Gardens, and so too is it home for Aske Batia. All right. This guy, Rob, we talked about him when
It's Akshay.
Sweeney was on.
Akshay.
Exactly. And we talked about it when Sweeney was on. This guy is just a fun player to watch, a great dude. He's got his stroke,
that's a good pick.
Not just putting, but driving. He can shape the ball any way that
You're
he
right.
needs to.
You
And
know,
the wind,
he said he's great in the wind, and it's going to be windy down there, so we'll see. That's
exactly. So he's my pick, Rob. I would anticipate him hoisting the Cognizant Classic Championship trophy on Sunday afternoon on NBC.
You heard it here first on the Brothers Brandt podcast. Batia wins it in dramatic fashion. Palm Beach Gardens.
Doesn't get better than that.
I like it. All right. Hey, Rick, this has been a great podcast, but I got to go. You got to go. We got diapers to change.
We sure do, Rob. For all you listeners out there, I'm Rick Brandt.
I'm Rob Brandt, and we're the Brothers Brandt. Thanks for listening.